Hey everybody. Got a bit of news. You guys are going to be stuck with just me tonight. Um TJ had a family emergency that came up suddenly. And I'm hoping that first of all things turn out well for him regarding this. I also made an executive decision, and I hope that's okay with TJ because I'm sure he had to just, leave. He was kind enough to leave me that message. I don't expect anybody to do that when they have a family emergency, but TJ is always conscientious that way. And he was apologizing. And it's like, you go and you take care of what you need to take care of. And whether we have to reschedule or whatever, we will do it. But I opted this time to just go ahead with what we had planned, and I'll just go through the episodes, and then TJ can join me the next time. Um, and this is through. I'm not deciding to do this because I'm upset with TJ. You cannot help it if you have family emergencies. Those things come first. These streams we do, that's secondary. Family is a priority. So I am totally not mad at TJ at all. He This is beyond his control. Even at the last minute, he made sure that he messaged me, which he totally did not have to do. But he, being the conscientious person he is, he did so. Um, but Yeah, that's all I know right now is just that he had a family emergency. And again, I hope he doesn't mind that I, shared that with you guys. I don't think he will. So just be me tonight going through these first 6 episodes. So I hope you guys can uh, be at least entertained a little bit with just me going solo tonight. My hair is just wild and crazy. Can I ask you guys something? It's like I'm looking at myself on the camera and it looks much darker in this room, like behind me. Like, am I darker than normal to you guys? Or is it just, something going on with me? Maybe I need to adjust my lighting. Maybe that's a little bit. Is that any better? I'm just feeling like the room seems quite a bit darker behind me than normal. But anyway, let me go through these. Let's see. Hey, Russell. Hey, Blissful. Hey, Darren. Yeah, I was sorry to hear that too, Russell, about TJ and his family. Hey, Super Batman nerd. Yeah, that was kind of what I thought too. Um, Yeah, Darren, I hope everything is going or goes well or turns out well with TJ and his family. Hey, Allie, you say television terror still scares me. I love Morton Downey Jr. Okay, so we'll go ahead. We got, or I got 10 people in here. We'll go ahead and get started with these episodes. I know TJ's a lot more entertaining than me, and he helps these things stay really entertaining. However, I'm not sure how entertaining I will be, but I will attempt. Okay, so the first episode of season 2 is an episode called Dead Right, starring Demi Moore and Jeffrey Tambor. This one was directed by Howard Deutsch. This one was released April  21st, 1990. So actually, I believe, and we may have already talked about this, TJ and I believe Tales from the Crypt started in 1989, but it must have been late in '89. Um, for one thing, they had a Christmas episode. For another thing, there were only 6 episodes, and then it moved in to season two, which was in 1990. So Demi Moore plays basically a gold digger who's looking for, easy street, basically. And this one also does not take place in modern times. It took me a little bit to figure out that this was taking place in, I believe, the 50s. After a while, after I looked at the outfits that, Demi Moore had on and some of the other ladies in the episode had on and stuff like that, I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, definitely the time period was not the modern time period for 1990. Um, so, um, so she goes to see a fortune teller basically, and she pays the woman $20 on the suggestion of a friend and coworker, I believe, and so basically, um, the fortune teller tells her that she's going to lose her job. And she's like, "No, I'm not going to lose my job." She says, "You're going to lose your job, and then you're going to meet a large man in a dark suit," I believe she says, or something to that effect. "And you will marry him, and he will inherit money, and then he will die." And she's like, "You're full of crap." And she leaves and she goes back to work and is discovered by her boss that she's coming back from her lunch break really, really late. And I get the feeling that this is not the first time that she has done this. And so she probably gets fired. And so she's thinking, well, what am I going to do here? But she manages to land a job as a waitress in a strip club. And she's not stripping, but the women on the stage are, but she has to dress in these kind of sexy outfits. And Jeffrey Tambor's character comes in, and he's the big guy, the large man that she is supposed to meet, and he's just enamored of her. And he tries everything he can to get a date with her, and she's like completely disgusted by him. And her boss basically says, "Yeah, I know he's a slob, but he's also a good customer, so go make him happy." So he keeps asking her, out on dates. And yes, Darren, we are certainly still on for tomorrow if you are still up for it. Um, I'm trying to glance at the chat too. Usually, when I have TJ on here, I'm better able to take a look at the chat. Um, so, anyway, she ends up going back to the fortune teller, and the fortune teller again tells her, "This is the large man that you will meet, and you will marry him, and he will inherit a lot of money, and then he will die." So, what has she got to lose? So she ends up, going out on a date with this guy and letting him slobber all over her and stuff like that. And she's still disgusted by him. But she agrees to marry him, thinking, well, soon he's going to inherit this money. She thinks he's going to inherit this money from a rich uncle. And it turns out the rich uncle has got a family. And she just goes ballistic. And she leaves and she's in the store and she turns out to be, uh, I don't know, the millionth customer or something. She wins a bunch of money. And so she goes back home and tells him, she's like, I've got this money. You're a big fat slob. I never cared about you at all. I'm leaving you. And he is in the kitchen with a knife, cutting up some vegetables to make something. And he basically says, "If I can't have you, no one can." And he goes crazy and stabs her to death. And he inherits her money, but he goes to prison and is executed um, for murdering her. So, what the fortune teller said came true basically because he got her money after he killed her, but then he was executed for her murder. So he died after inheriting her money. So the fortune teller was, she was dead right, basically. Um, Super Batman Nerd, you said you seen one just like this one, but different. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these first few episodes of season 2 kind of have a sort of similar theme running through them. Either it's, somebody that's a gold digger or there's some kind of affair going on. And a similar theme, like I said, seems to run through many of these episodes. So the second episode is The Switch, starring William Hickey and Kelly Preston. And this one's directed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who actually shows up in the Crypt Keeper's Crypt, which I thought was a nice touch. Um, so William Hickey plays, the traditional old man character that William Hickey played for years. And I don't think I've ever seen William Hickey young playing in anything. Everything I saw him in, he was this old dude. But he's in love with Kelly Preston's character. And he brings her flowers and everything to try to woo her. But she just tells him, "Carlton, you're too old. You're too old for me. It just wouldn't work." And at first she seems like a sweet girl, but as the episode goes on, uh, you don't like her much because Carlton is doing everything he can to get this girl. He's absolutely in love with her. He doesn't care that she's young. He's in love with her. So she says, "But you're old, Carlton." So he goes to basically a mad scientist and pays him $1 million to put a young man's face on him. So he does the transplant and he gets this guy's face. And the guy that is giving up his face um, is getting Carlton's money. Carlton starts out as a really rich guy, but he basically ends up giving all his money to Hans. This kind of dumb acting guy. He's kind of weird acting. Um, so he gets Hans's face and he goes back to um, the object of his undying love. And she's like, "But you look so weird, Carlton." She said, "You have the face of a young man, but your torso is so old and it won't work." So he goes back to the mad scientist and says, how much would it cost for me to get Han's torso? So the mad scientist says, well, $2 million. $2 million. He's like, you're taking all my money, but okay. So he gets Han's torso and he goes out on the beach in a like a tank top and sweatpants, and he's lifting weights and doing chin-ups and trying to impress the girl, and she is impressed until she wants to go swimming, and he changes into shorts and she sees, "Oh, Carlton, your legs are so old and shriveled up and stuff. I just, I can't be with you like this." So he goes back to the mad scientist a third time and wants Hans's legs. By that time, he's broke, completely broke. But he thinks, surely, I look like a completely different and young man. I will go and get this girl that I am in love with. Now you see just how untrustworthy this girl is by this point in time, if you hadn't figured it out two times before. So he goes where she did live, her apartment, and she's not there. And he, finally is able to get from one of her ex neighbors that she's moved to some real swanky, ritzy place. And when he goes there, he finds out that she's married Hans, but Hans looks like he did. And I'm like, what a bitch, she didn't want Carlton when he looked old and he had a lot of money. But when Carlton gave all his money to Hans, and Hans got all of Carlton's old body parts, she just fell like a rock into a swimming pool. It's like, what in the world, So there's the story of the switch. Um, Russell, you want to know what's it called again? Well, the first episode was Dead Right, but the one that I just talked about is called The Switch. Super Batman Nerdy said the one I seen was husband and wife staged his death with his brother, and they had an affair, and the husband goes crazy. Yeah, that sounds like a similar type of episode, definitely. Okay, so here is one of my favorite episodes. I liked all of these episodes. I'm really, really enjoying going back and watching these. But this one is just so batshit crazy, you can't help but love it. And that's Cutting Cards, starring Kevin T and Lance Henriksen. The screenplay is by Mae Woods and Walter Hill, and it's also directed by Walter Hill. But Kevin is from Roadhouse. He basically plays, can't even talk, plays the guy who ends up hiring Patrick Swayze's character of Dalton to clean up the bad elements in his roadhouse. But on this episode of Tales from the Crypt, he is just batshit crazy. And Lance Henriksen is also batshit crazy. They're these crazy, really super competitive guys that like to gamble. And it's high stakes gambling. Okay. So when they meet up again, they just can't stand it. They got to go back to their old ways, even if it means one of them might end up dead. They don't care. So they go out in the parking lot of this casino, basically, and play Russian roulette. And neither one of them ends up dying. And so they've got to do something, they got to do something that's going to prove who is the better gambler. Okay. And so they play cards, and not just any cards though. When they lose a hand of cards, the other one gets to cut off one of their fingers. So you literally see them, at first it looks like Lance Henriksen's going to come out on top, but then he starts losing fingers. And then the next scene, they are both in the hospital, and they have not only cut off their fingers and their hands, they've cut off their arms up to here. And so they're both sitting on the floor in a hospital with the hospital gowns on, basically pushing checker pieces around with their noses because they have no hands and really no arms. They just got little nubs to push these pieces around. So, batshit crazy episode, but just so much fun and in tune with the Tales from the Crypt. Um, so the next episode, Till Death, the fourth episode, this has D.W. Moffat, who the big thing I remember him in, other than this, was the movie Lisa with Stacy Keenan and Cheryl Ladd playing Stacy Keenan's mother. And D.W. Moffat was the guy who played the candlelight killer in that. He was the one that was strangling women and killing them. But in this one, he's basically a scumball, and he's a developer, and there's also a voodoo element in this because he done the wrong woman wrong, basically, because she's a voodoo woman and she knows things that she can do to him to, in essence, punish him for uh, doing her wrong. Okay. So she basically tells him that, yeah, I can get you a millionaire bride. And she gives him this solution that she says, if you give her one drop, she'll want to marry you. If you give her two drops, she'll be yours for life. Okay. So he's not thinking, okay, this is a voodoo woman saying this stuff to me. What exactly is this going to mean? Because at first, the really rich woman doesn't want anything to do with him. She knows he's a sleazeball. Okay. And so he puts a drop in her drink, and she all of a sudden she's all over him, wants to have sex with him. And then he ends up he doesn't just put two drops. I think he puts like 3 to 5 drops in there, or just dumps the whole stuff in her drink. And you know how the voodoo girl said that if you put 2 drops in there, she'll be yours for life? Well, as much as he put in her drink the last time, she will be his from beyond the grave. And literally, she keeps coming back. He cannot get rid of her. She dies and comes back, as, half rotted and stuff like that. Um, so the fun little episode. I mean, all of these episodes are just so good. I think Tales from the Crypt was one of these shows where the episode started off strong, and I think they continued this way for quite a while, which is unusual for these types of shows. And I believe this went on for maybe what, 7, 8 seasons. I could be a little wrong on that. Y'all feel free to let me know. Um, Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Super Batman Nerd, you say, I'm going to watch the show tonight after work. Yeah, I mean, I actually was loving the episode so much that I actually started watching the 7th episode before I came on here to do the stream. Yes, and Blissful is right that they are on YouTube because I was dividing my time at work between watching some of these episodes and doing my tickets and things like that. So, Rebecca Nerdy say, as a kid, I just like watching the intro. Okay, so the next episode, we only got 2 more episodes to cover, and I'm only gonna go on for a little over 30 minutes, which I'll be happy to stay on here for a little bit longer if you guys just wanna kinda talk about different things or ask me any questions, I will be glad to do so. But the 5th episode is Three's a Crowd, starring Gavin O'Harely, Ruth DeSouza, and Paul Lieber. Um, this one was directed by David Burton Morris. Um, and okay, I'm just making sure I didn't skip any here. Yeah, I don't think I did. Okay. Um, so this one, this Three's a Crowd episode, it's got a very a husband who's very suspicious of a mutual friend that he and his wife have. He's, I guess in some ways he has a reason to be suspicious because she's spending a lot of time with this guy. And uh, it does like there's several things where it seems mighty suspicious. It seems that there may be an affair going on. Um, and so the husband is slowly losing his mind. So, he tells his wife, he says, I can't even give you the child that you so, that you've always wanted. And, what good am I? And he can give you the world. I don't even have the money that he has. Um, and she tries to assure him, and she never acts disgusted, never acts like she doesn't want to be with her husband. So they end up going to this, I guess, vacation house of their friend. And their anniversary is coming up. So the friend claims that he's giving them this vacation. And they go out on his boat and they do, you see the wife again spending a lot of time with the friend. And you can just see the husband just bristling, he's almost like a dog. He just you keep expecting to go, "Ugh," or just start growling or something. And the husband gets more and more crazed as the episode goes on. Until he just completely loses it. He wakes up, realizes his wife is not in bed one night, kind of goes to the beginning of the stairs, and he can see her and the friend talking. And the way they are talking seems like that they're planning on an affair or have already started an affair. And she's saying things like she doesn't know how he'll take it, doesn't know how to tell him, and all that stuff. So I must admit that conversation sounds very suspicious. Um, but then he can't take it anymore. He just loses it and uses a crossbow on the friend and shoots him with the crossbow. And he's got to top it all off, as if he doesn't look crazed enough, he has the coat that the friend got for his wife on. And when she comes home, there's the friend's blood all over it. And she doesn't see that for a little bit. And she's like, why do you have my coat on? And she's like, where is, I think his name was Alan. She's like, where is Alan? He's like, oh, he's hanging around somewhere. And then she discovers that, yeah, he's been speared to the wall with, with these arrows. And she knows at that point her husband has flipped. And she screams and barricades herself into the bedroom. He busts in because he's kind of a big, kind of muscular guy. And he strangles her with something he believes Alan got her, some black stockings or something. And then you see him dragging her lifeless body across a bridge. And, they kept trying to lure him to this cabin. And I kind of had this one figured out before it got to the end, the big zinger at the end. He pulls her into the cabin, and there everybody is. Everybody has gotten together to celebrate the fact that his wife had found out she was pregnant. And the banner behind the people says, "Congratulations, you're going to be a daddy." And the look on his face, there was no affair going on. She just, was unsure, I guess, how he was going to take the news that he was going to be a daddy. So not only did he kill his wife, but he killed his unborn child and then dragged her lifeless body into the cabin where everybody was assembled, friends and stuff, to celebrate this, to not only celebrate their anniversary, but to celebrate the impending pregnancy. So, very shocking episode. Um, Yes, Blissful has done everybody a great favor here, I think. If anyone is interested, I have a playlist made for seasons 1 to 5 I'll be adding. Russell found some there. He found some playlists. Um, Blissful says, I'll make a playlist for each of the remaining seasons tomorrow. So, Blissful, I guess, and I feel bad. I meant to help Blissful with this to make sure that these things were in the right order and all of that, and I just totally slipped my mind. So, but what I want to ask you, Bliss, was have the episodes pretty much been in order? Like, I know we only did, the first 6 um last time me and TJ did. Um and I just was curious if they have been in order as far as the playlist based on how we're talking about them so far. Um, Sir Batman Nerd, you said the episode I described earlier is called The Trap, episode 3 from the 3rd season. Yeah, I was wondering that too, Super Batman Nerd, if they were uncensored. And I found out the same way Blissful did that, yes, they are uncensored. And Blissful says, yes, I double checked all the playlists. All right, so the final episode from this first disc is The Thing from the Grave. And this has Terry Hatcher, Miguel Ferrer, and Kyle Secor. And this one was written and directed by Fred Decker. And so Miguel Ferrer plays another unsavory character in this who basically beats on his beautiful girlfriend, bruises her up and stuff. She is a model who the photographer has taken a shine to her in more ways than one. And they begin an affair. He listens to her. He gives her a key to his studio. He says that she can come there anytime if she needs to get away from her fiance, who, obviously he figures out that, this guy's abusive. So the way the episode opens up though is the photographer is driving to this cabin where Miguel Ferrer's character has told him, she's in trouble, Lover boy, you better come on and check up on her. So we see him, driving really fast, getting there to the cabin. Miguel Ferrer's out in front of the cabin and he says, "Let me know, you son of a bitch, is she okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's okay. But I can't say the same for you." And he basically shoots him on one shoulder and he says, "Is that the shoulder she used to cry on? Or maybe it was the other one." And he shoots him on the other shoulder. And so he ends up killing him and then burying him. He's already got the grave dug and everything. So then we go and we see how the photographer and the model's relationship basically developed. This is in TV time too, so it's pretty quick. And at one point, he gives her a necklace that he said he got from a blind woman. And the blind woman told him that any promise he makes to somebody or a promise he makes while he's holding this necklace will be fulfilled. So he basically tells her, as he's putting this necklace on her, that he will always be there for her no matter what. So then towards the end of the episode, we see Miguel Ferrer's got her tied up to a bed. He's planning to do, terrible things to her, essentially raping her, and then he's going to do her in. And remember when the guy said, any promise he makes while he's holding the necklace, that promise will be fulfilled. And he does. He comes back from the grave. He basically buries Miguel Ferrer alive. And kind of the final scenes is the model, hearing Miguel Ferrer scream. She goes out in the woods. She sees the photographer now, looking a little worse for wear, pulling dirt over Miguel Ferrer, and he's screaming, "I'm not dead. I'm not dead. You can't do this," and screaming. And then, of course, everything fades out from there. Um, Again, all 6 of these episodes on the first disc were, I don't think there was a dud in the bunch. I was never bored. Um, the truth be told, when we were doing, and I've mentioned this a couple of times before, when we were doing the Friday 13th, the series episodes, especially when it got to that third season, it was a chore to watch those. One, because a lot of those episodes weren't very good, especially after John LeMay left. Um, but two, they were just too damn long. Too damn long. And I could see it was kind of wearing TJ down too. So this is more enjoyable. These are the right length. Um, I don't think there are any of them that are over 30 minutes. A lot of them are just under. And so they seem to go really fast. And the action moves along really quickly. And so I really enjoyed these. Um, and again, so much so that I actually started watching the 7th episode. I didn't quite get all the way through it. So I'm not going to talk about that one until next time. Oh, yeah, I did watch all of the 7th episode. Sorry. But the 8th episode, I got to the 8th episode, for crying out loud, and didn't get through with it. But um, TJ and I hopefully will be able to cover episodes 7 through 12 next Wednesday. Let's see. Blissful says, Russell, there's a playlist called Because It's All Music from the 60s and 70s you may like. Leslie, you say, you and TJ look like you had a pop quiz sprung on you. LOL. I'm sure we did. Super Batman Nerdy say, sounds like when I was watching the Dragon Ball shows, I started to get burned out. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know if that's exactly how TJ was feeling, but I certainly was feeling burned out, kind of like you feel burned out at your job or whatever, or if you're going to college, sometimes people feel, a little burned out with that. Um, but I, I had a pretty good crowd in here, and managed to cover 6 episodes in under an hour, about 45 minutes or so. But I would be glad to stay on here for about another 15 minutes, till 9 o'clock. If you guys and gals want to, like I said, ask me any questions, or suggest anything you'd like to see me do, a stream on. um And also a reminder that I will have Darren on, Seductive Poison the Resurgence, tomorrow night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be, I'll probably talk about some other stuff, but I am mainly going to be reviewing Wolf Creek and Blind Terror from 1971, with Darren making any, comments, or adding anything that he wants to the review, because these reviews are for him. And so that's what I got planned for Thursday. Friday through the day, there unfortunately will be no midday with Dana and Jay, because I have to have that mediation appointment with my former employer in the EEOC. I probably won't be able to talk a lot about what the result is, either way. I may be able to only say, it went good or it went bad. But I won't be able to talk about specifics, because I have signed a confidentiality agreement. And Steve told me, he said, the last thing you need is to get sued. So I was like, no, I don't want to get sued. So you won't hear me complaining in depth or giving details on that meeting, because legally I won't be able to. Um, I will merely be able to say if it was a good or bad experience. But Friday evening, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Blissful's friend Wayne will be on here with me for an interview and a Q&A session. I am going to get the promotion up for that tonight when I'm off of here, so that you guys can take a gander at it. Wayne has actually sent me some info on some projects he's worked on and different things that I will be putting into the description for that interview. So I'm really excited about doing this. This is something new for me, and Blissful was integral in helping me get this interview with Wayne. And so I thank her wholeheartedly for that. And I hope you guys and gals can join us for that, me and Wayne. And I think it's going to be interesting. I really, really do. And I'm really excited about it. So, Russell, you say you love the episode with Bill Paxton and Brad Dourif. Yeah, I'm not sure where that one is, but I'm looking forward to covering it. Blissful, you say that's going to be a good live. And Blissful says one shot if it went good, two if it went bad. That's right. Super Batman Nerd, you say, I got my mother to pre-order Pretending I'm a Superman, the Tony Hawk video game documentary, for my birthday. Oh, that's cool, Super Batman Nerd. Darren, you say, looking forward to it. Get as much money as you can Friday. You were unfairly dismissed. Fingers crossed for you. Thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. Blitzel says, Super Batman nerd, that's awesome. Love Tony Hawk. Um, so there may be stuff on the horizon about my current job and, possible promotion, but I'm being really careful about what I talk about on these live streams as far as work, because it's gotten me in a little spot of trouble in the past. So I'm not going to go into big details, but I did have a meeting today, um, which I hope turns out in my favor. That's all I'll say about it, until such time as I either get that position or don't get that position, and then I can mention it. But I don't really want to mention like details around it because um, people have gotten the wrong idea about me and what kind of person I am based on stuff I've said in the past, and it really hurt me. So I'm playing it safe and just not, how people will say, uh, don't let your mouth write a check you can't cash. Okay, so that's basically why I'm not going into huge details about things anymore. Because um, it unfortunately sometimes things you say can cause you to lose friends. I'm not going to say subscribers because in this case it was people I considered friends. Um, and I don't want to lose any more friends. So I just I'm not going to keep going on and on about it. I'm just, explain to you guys, if you don't hear me go on and on about something, it's just because I don't want to alienate anybody else and cause them to, one, not want to speak to me, or two, not want to come to the streams anymore. Um, and Blissful says Wayne is multi talented, and I can believe it too. Um, Surveyman Nerdy said the thoughts on her mind when she sees the other titles on the Vinegar Syndrome website. Russell, you say, was a special guest on a live watch party for Friday 13th remake. Loved it, had fun. Well, that sounds like a good time, Russell. I'm glad you were able to do that. Super Baby Nerd, you say she was like, what is my son into? Oh man. So what else we got coming up? So Saturday and Sunday, since you guys and gals are in here, I will say Uncle Bill's got me talked into. I was going to do Hell Night, but he wants to do Auntie Lee's meat pies. I said, all right, Uncle Bill, if you'll agree to be on here with me for the watch along, um, we will do Auntie Lee's meat pies. Okay. Now I can't show you the back of this, although I think Uncle Bill did on my stream and it didn't get nixed. So maybe it would be safe. I don't know. Sunday, the watch along will be for Fatal Attraction. And so exciting, into the week coming up, I feel like. Lots of stuff in the pipeline. And I do want to apologize that you guys just got me tonight. But, unfortunately, these things happen. And I, will be thinking about TJ. And I encourage you guys to as well. And if you pray, keep him in your prayers. If you don't pray, at least keep him in your thoughts. Send good vibes his way and all of that. Um, Super Batman Blissel says, Super Batman nerd more than once a week. My mom asks him, what the hell is wrong with you? Blissel has told me her mom does that. Um, my mom didn't say anything that colorful, but I would get looks when I still lived with my parents, like, Dana, we just don't get you. Which was, that's about the same thing as what you guys are saying. So I totally, totally get that. Now I get that those looks from Steve, but you're talking about a guy that watches things like The Infernal Rapist. So, but I did get in, and I know there's probably going to be some moans and groans. I should have brought it back here to show, like, did a little short daily grindhouse, uh, but I didn't even think about it. And I did get the 4K of Stephen King's The Mist, directed by Frank Darabont. I know a lot of people are not fans of that movie. And, although the original ending um, was disheartening to say the least, um, I still love what Frank Darabont does with Stephen King material. And I can't honestly say The Mist is a horrible adaptation. I just can't, because I think it's a great adaptation. I really do, despite the downer ending to it. And I won't go into extreme detail in case there are those of you that have not seen The Mist. Um, Russell, you say, found meat pies on YouTube. Now I have to watch later. Right. Yeah, I think you'll have fun with that one, Russell. Um, so, in the last 5 minutes, does anybody have anything that they want to bring up, or suggestions or questions that you want to ask? Um, Maybe you want to suggest a future watch along, or I think it's finally, here's some good news on the horizon for people that like fall weather or love fall weather, like in my case. It's going to get significantly cooler here in good old Kentucky later on in the week, which we are edging ever closer to the weekend. Um, no, there was no West drive-by. I mean, it may be possible that they were doing a dead pitch stream, or sometimes West tells me that I compete with wrestling, like AEW and stuff like that. So, um, it could be that, which I'm not seeing them doing anything tonight. I see something scheduled for the 27th, the Curse of the Exorcist franchise. Um, and a little promotion for my I see Rambo's doing something. They could be over on Rambo's channel, perhaps. Um, but anyway, a little promotion for my husband's Eurocult show, which I'm on with him and Dirk and Darren. Um, this Sunday we're going to be doing. I think we're doing a live one again because I mean, the last few we've done, and if Darren's in here still, he may want to comment on that. It seems like everybody had a good time doing them that way. And I kind of like the last one we did where we talked about The Exorcist. I don't know if that one's, I think that one's out of course, on the Dead Pit page or channel, in case you missed it. and you want to go back and watch it. I don't know if that's part of the Patreon or not. It could be. But we talked about The Exorcist, which was my pick for this past Sunday, or the Sunday before last, I guess, because I forget we do them like every other Sunday. And this time we're going to be talking about Eurocult Halloween. So I'm looking forward to it. So you can, I think, I think we're doing it live. So you guys can feel free to hop on over and visit us as we do a Eurocult Halloween show. I think so too, Darren. That it's fun doing live Eurocults. I mean, I think it's more interactive, you know. And I was glad that Dirk and Darren wanted to do that as well. Hey, David, you say I think Piz is streaming tonight. Nothing from Dead Pit though. Yeah, yeah, I think I saw that Pizzow was streaming, and I also saw that Rambo was streaming as well. So, you know, they could be on. Probably not on Pizzow's show, but I think they show up on Rambo's show sometimes. I know Uncle Bill does quite a bit, or he did at one time. Um, so Rambo is a lot of fun. If y'all haven't checked out Rambo Raff, you should go over to his channel and check out. He does a lot of stuff. He just does, like these casual hangout things and stuff like that. Sometimes he has guests on there. Sometimes it's him talking about different things and talking to the people in the chat. So yeah, I definitely check him out. Pizzow does some interesting stuff too, so you might want to check him out if you haven't checked him out already. And of course, my buddies over at deadpit.com or the Dead Pit channel on YouTube and Patreon and all that stuff. So they've got tons of content. I don't promote them as much as I should, but I say if you've never checked out CK and Uncle Bill over at Dead Pit, definitely check them out. They've been doing content for a long time, since the end of '05 or so into '06. And so imagine that. Imagine all of that content that CK has stored, a lot of that somewhere at Dead Pit Studios. Um, so, yeah, be sure to check all of those guys and gals out. Well, guys mainly that I talked about. But I'm a little over an hour in. So I think I'm going to call it a night and get that promotion out for the interview with Wayne. And also this weekend, I will be doing a couple more movie munchies. I'll be doing Michael Myers Halloween or Michael Myers signature pumpkin bread. And I will be doing Creep Show Father's Day cupcakes. Jay's really looking forward to those cupcakes, I think. Oh, wow. Super Baby Nerdy say I went to 3 Starbucks for the Ghostbusters Slimer tumbler and all 3 were sold out. Oh, that sucks. Speaking of Slimer, though, I have created a logo for my movie Munchies that is Slimer, that I've added a popcorn box and a Coke to, and put movie Munchies on there. So look for that, the next movie Munchies that I do. You have a good one too, Darren, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow night. Good night, Russell. And so, on that note, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night, and I will be here tomorrow night with Darren, and we're going to talk about Wolf Creek and Blind Terror. So, I'm going to play my outro. Y'all have a good night. I'll see you next time.